Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at Gala again, see what's going on here. We're looking at it yesterday, expecting an increase, and obviously it's doing very well right now. So hopefully we can understand why. Now, just before we do, obviously we look at Bitcoin in most cases, but today we're just going to go ahead and summarize. It's pretty much hanging out at 49,000, making higher highs and higher lows. I think that's the main reason why we're seeing coins like this taking off, because there's stability in the market and we're no longer in that downtrend. Feels like we've kind of broken that downward channel, so to speak, and it feels like the market's ready to come back alive. Also note too, we're gonna have a strange amount of volume in the next few hours. I would say 72 100 and some odd hours over the weekend because of the holidays. So just note that we might get some volatility, and that could be a good thing, but also just a reiteration of the fact that you want to have targets in place, right? Always set more than one profit target and ensure that you have a stop loss as well in case things kind of go awry. But for the most part, we should expect kind of an increase and a lot of coins to kind of be taken off at random because of the the volume. Again, low volume, high volatility. That's essentially how it works. So taking a look here at Gala. Oh, sorry, just before we do, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining me, of course. But I just want to let you know I love teaching people how to trade. I do this full time every single day of my life, and I can tell you it is the best experience. It's very rewarding to be able to work with some amazing community members. So I have an awesome community. Feel free to consider joining that in your own time, of course. And just note that I share signals for every single trade that I take. I'm rolling out with the Trading Academy next month. It's just an in-depth analysis on how to be a better trader, start to finish, like 50 plus videos. It's taken a lot of time to get this together, but it's worth it because my community needs it. So just check that out again in your own time. Now, looking at Gala, of course, we're going to look at some of the basic indicators and work our way down. We always start with a one-day chart because to be a thorough, to be thorough, you need to understand the big picture and the small picture, right? So the one-day chart's telling us the 50-day simple moving average is working its way up. That's excellent. We're back up over 50 on the RSI, even better. So we peaked below there for a few days, but now we're kind of back on track. We're up over 47 cents, which was a major resistance level, but now it's considered to be a support. And that's why we're up over 50 on the RSI too. A lot of times 50 on the RSI will be synonymous with a major resistance or support level. We're also soon to converge on the MACD as well. So all good things. Basically, these are nice long-term swing trade position indicators telling us that it's comfortable to take entry based on these sentiments, okay? So if you're going to only use the one-day chart, we're checking all the boxes, so to speak, right? All good stuff there in that sense. Now looking at the 4-hour, see what's going on here. This is where the magic is happening. We can see the price kind of sort of getting tentatively rejected by the 200. The 200-day simple moving average has a tendency of rejecting price action initially, which it did with a couple of coins recently. In fact, I just looked at what Elon, and it got stuck under the 200 for about, I think, a full trading day, and then it just took off, right? So we could see something similar, or it could just blast right through. It's not 100%, but commonly you'll see the 200 work as a potential resistance when it's below, of course, and or support in the inverse. But the good news is we're up over the 50-day simple moving average. That's a really important thing. We're peaking up over 70 in the RSI. I don't love that, but I don't hate it either because oftentimes, it can work as a support level once you surpass that. But the bottom line is that's telling us we're a bit on the overextended side. Okay, so it's overbought, and oftentimes when something is considered overbought, people will have a tendency of selling, right? So just bear that in mind. The psychology behind that is that people are considering this to be overextended, right? And they might take their profits. Those people perhaps could be whales, right? That have very large bags. So just again, take that in consideration because today and tomorrow, I believe, are pretty much the last days before the weekend, right? Actually, today should be the last open day based on the fact that we have holidays coming up this weekend. So, just bear that in mind too. Some people might take profits today before the weekend. That's a potential reality there. MACD convergence really just continuing upwards. So really all good stuff here. Once again, the only concern is just that 200-day set moving average, but we're back up over that major resistance of 47 cents, which is awesome. And we can start setting our sights on 55 and 60 cents as the next potential targets. Speaking of targets, if you don't set profit targets on your trades, you're doing it wrong. Okay. So this is just something I try to reiterate to my community because it's really important, and they've all come to realize that it can be very helpful to set multiple profit targets. So always shoot for 3 profit targets if possible. Maybe even consider a moving or trailing stop loss, and then of course just set your targets based on Fibonacci retracement levels just below. because oftentimes people will get greedy and try to sell right above Fibonacci retracement levels, which kind of makes sense psychologically because a lot of times the price will peak above, but a lot of times it gets stopped out right at a specific price point. And these major Fibonacci retracement levels are the same thing that the industry leaders are using too, right? They control the market, so why not just undercut them a little bit, right? I don't know. It just makes sense to me. It works very well. So if you're going to set a profit target, I would say somewhere in the range of what, 54 cents instead of 54.7, right? Something along those lines. Just something to consider. Now looking at the 1 hour chart, let's go ahead and take a quick look at TD sequential first. We're at a 2 right now. We got a nice little reset there. So this is even though it's you know, a little bit on the, again, overextended side, right? We can see we're up over 70 on the RSI in the 4 hour. We got this healthy-ish continuation pattern, right? In other words, it came up, consolidated right at support, or previously resistance. It actually this is one thing that's really cool. And take a look at this. First of all, you see the price got stopped out 5 hours in a row, and then it broke above. Comes back down to test the previous resistance, establishes itself as a support, and now it moves up. So it's an awesome pattern that you see that happen quite a lot in trading, where major resistance and support levels are tested first for a few hours, and then they break above. They'll come back down to test again, and then that establishes a support, and then it moves up. So it's really awesome because that gave it just enough time to kind of get a reset from TD sequential. So we're literally only 2 hours into this continuation now. So the likelihood of seeing 55 cents is pretty high, right? Based on that sentiment alone. And just bear in mind too, Gala has more room for growth. Yes, it's on the overextended side, but all the other indicators are, our 1 day chart tells us we have a full-on green light for a swing trade position. Our 1 hour chart is telling us we have a good macro correction, a good micro scenario, okay? Now, technically we have good micro and good macro. It's just that the 4 hour, the kind of in between, the midterm, so to speak, is kind of just yelling that we're slightly overextended on the RSI, right? I would take this indicator and the MACD conversions on the 1 day chart over a 4 hour RSI overextension. Because again, this is giving us an indication that we had this nice healthy consolidation at support and the price is taking off. So the likelihood of it continuing upwards, I feel, is much higher than it would be to come back down. Just note, if it were to come back down, 47 cents is a nice strong support now, right? We can kind of rely on that. So maybe consider setting a limit order right around 47 cents. And then obviously consider also setting a sell order at somewhere around 55 cents. Take your profit, add to your position. Both good things, right? So ultimately, just some things to consider. Let's quickly look at TD sequential correction, Ichimoku cloud. And then there's literally nothing here telling us that we need to sell our position. This is just straight up, of course. So if you're new to the Ichimoku cloud, it's probably the best indicator you could ever use for trading. First of all, above the cloud is check number 1. You want the price to be above the cloud when you take entry. Check number 2 is the conversion line has to be above the baseline. We're good to go there. Last check is essentially this lagging span needs to be free and clear of any price action. Okay, so inevitably it will intersect with it unless we're consistently moving upwards. And then we can see it kind of goes really quick, right? So ultimately at this point, what we're looking at is a pretty good situation, whereas Gala should continue to increase based on the fact that the cloud is not telling us to close our position, okay? So we've really only got one thing going for us right now, at least against us, I guess you could say, is on the 4 hour, the RSI being overextended. Again, I'll take this. I'll take an Ichimoku cloud breakthrough and a MACD convergence on the 1 day any day. So I would just speculate that we're going to see a continuation from Gala here. There's no indication on the technical analysis here telling us it's going to calm down or turn around. Just bear in mind, of course, Bitcoin hits a ceiling of 49,000, drops to 46 or lower. That's a different story. We can't control that. That is a reality we have to face, and that'll always be looming over our heads. So just know that's why we usually like to look at Bitcoin first and understand what that's doing prior to getting into an altcoin investment. All right, so enough rambling for me here. I hope you've learned something here today. If you did, great. Comment below. Let me know. If you'd like to become a community member, link in the description below. I would recommend that before year end, just based on the fact that we are increasing the rates next month. And furthermore, too, we're going to transition away from Patreon to a website platform. So end of next month, we're going to be able to roll out with that, have that smooth transition, just kind of ironing out the kinks, and I'm finalizing my trading academy as well. So all good stuff. Looking forward to that transition and obviously getting to know you better. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you soon.